Wanting to know how to use ConvertKit for your email marketing? Well, you clicked on the right video. Today, I'm going to walk you through creating opt-in forms, adding the forms to your website, sending freebies instantly, sending one-off emails to your list, also sending a series of emails to your list, like for example, in the case of a welcome sequence. I'm going to explain what tags and categories are and my best tips for using them to organize your list, because I've definitely found a good way and a bad way of doing it over time. And then also we're going to discuss connecting a quiz software too, in case you want to use a quiz as your freebie instead of the typical like send a PDF option. Do know that I have two links for you below. One is to sign up for the ConvertKit free trial. It's free to use for up to 1,000 subscribers, or there's also the option to go straight to a premium plan and get your first 30 days free. So if you have a list over 1,000 subscribers, go for the 30-day option. If not, go for the free plan. Those are affiliate links, by the way, so do know that my Margarita Fund thanks you kindly if you do choose to use them. Again, links below for that. Now, let's get right into the tutorial. All right, when you come into ConvertKit, your dashboard will look a little bit something like this when you first get started. Now, the first thing which I want to show you is actually how to create an opt-in form that you can put on your website and how to put it on your website. So we're going to go under Grow, and then we're going to go to Landing Pages and Forms. Now, there are two options. We're going to go create new. There's two options, either a form or a landing page. Now, landing pages is a fully designed page, basically. They already have these very nice layouts and everything happening for you. You can just select it and then go ahead and swap in your own text and your own images and everything. The other option is the form. Now, I personally find, because I use Squarespace for my website and I find that it's very easy for me to design everything and make it look fantastic just inside of Squarespace, I actually prefer to use the form option. And when you choose a form, I'm going to go for an inline form and the clear one. So I try to get like the most basic form there is, which is this one. And that just has basically like the opt-in box. And then on my website, I put like an image of the freebie and text to go with the freebie and everything. I just prefer to do it that way. But if you would prefer to use the landing page form, that also totally works. Right now, we are just asking for the email address, but I also like to ask for the first name as well, because I like to address my people in the email and be like, hi Paige, hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday. So in order to get that information so that ConvertKit can like custom put in every person's name, we need to know their name. So we're going to click the plus button. We are going to go for the first name field. Now, I actually prefer for these to be in the other order, so I'm going to click on the three little dots and then drag this field to the left to rearrange them. Now, we have first name, have email address. Those are the two most important things. I do want to get rid of the built with ConvertKit because I just find it's not pretty. So I'm going to click on that and uncheck this box. Now, if you're thinking, oh, well, this like blue color is really not the vibe of my brand, no problem if you click on that. Then it will open up the editor where you can select another color. So you can either use this draggy thing here. I don't know the technical term for that. You can either use that to select the color that you want, or alternatively, if you have a hex code, if you've worked with the brand designer, or if you're in your website, I will show you where you can find that in a second in Squarespace, if in case you're using Squarespace. You can find like this is a 6-digit color code. It's called a hex code. And so if you take your color code from somewhere else and paste it in here, that means you're going to get like the exact same shade and everything, which is very handy. So I'm going to go into my website to pull the color code. So I'm in my Squarespace site. If you're using Squarespace to find the colors in your site, you go to Site Styles, Colors, and then the palette, click Edit Palette, select the color that you want. Let's say I want the dark green color maybe. When I click through here, you'll notice this number here changes as I click through the different colors. Let's say I want the dark green. I have the hex code. Again, you'll notice a 6-digit code of numbers and letters, so that's one that you want. Then you can go back into ConvertKit and paste that code in there, and then you'll get the exact same green here that you have here, so everything matches, which is good. So I am happy with all of that. I'm going to click on Save, and then I'm going to click on Publish. Now, there's a few different ways that you can get this form onto your website. The way which I use and prefer, if you use WordPress, then just click on the WordPress option. If you don't use WordPress, then what I would say is the JavaScript is your best bet. I'm going to show you as I go. So let me copy this. I'm going to go into my website, find a place on the website that I want to put this form. So let's say I want to put it maybe in the footer here and replace the like built-in Squarespace form option. I'm going to go to Edit Footer, and I'm going to delete out the Squarespace newsletter block because I want to put in my ConvertKit newsletter block, basically. So I'm going to go to Add Block, and then we are going to use a code block. Now, don't let that scare you. Don't let that freak you out. You aren't writing any code here. You're literally copying code and you're pasting code. So it's not that complicated. So we're going to go to the edit, select the code that's there, delete it out, and paste in my code, which I just copied from ConvertKit. Then I'm going to drag this out a bit, replace it here. I want to put in some text above it, which explains like what this freebie is. So let's say it is, I have this freebie, the Start Your Squarespace Website Workbook. Oops. And I'm going to center align that. And now we can see it all together. 1 second. When I hit the refresh button, then it will appear like so. So that's good. Now you'll notice though, the problem is that my background of this section is the exact same dark green as the button. So you can't really see the button. So 2 options, which I have. 1, change the background on Squarespace, or 2, change the button color. I think I want to change the button color and I want it to be this like lighter green color. And again, let me show you right now why JavaScript makes the most sense. So I'm going to go back to Site Styles, I'm going to go to Colors, I'm going to go to Edit Palette, and I'm going to copy the code of the light green color. Let's go back into ConvertKit. I'm going to click again on my subscribe, and I can pull up the color option for it, paste in that color option, click, oops, save. I'm going to refresh my site over here. And you'll notice that when I refresh it, you will see that the new green color has changed here. Now you'll notice I didn't have to like copy the code from ConvertKit again and paste it in here. If you use JavaScript, then it will automatically update. Like when you make a change to this form in ConvertKit, it will automatically update on your website. If you use, however, when you click on the publish button, if you use HTML, that won't happen and you would need to recopy that code every time to get it to do that. So that is the benefit of using the JavaScript. So we've created a form, we have added it onto our website. What about if you want to actually send someone automatically a freebie when they have opted into this thing? In order to do that, what you want to do is go to the settings of the form, and then you go to incentive. And then from here, you can click on the send incentive email and edit email contents. So we are going to open up this. And this is where you can tweak the email. So this is someone opts into your form, they click like download or subscribe or whatever. Actually, that's another good point. Probably the best thing. If you want this to be they download something when they opt in here, you would want to change the text. You just click and write in your new text, basically. And again, if you click save, if you're using JavaScript, it'll auto update on your website. So let's say you have the download button there. Great. So they know once they click the download button, okay, something's going to be coming to them. So the first thing, you can choose one of 2 options. 1, show a success message. So that means in this space here, once they've put in name and email, they click subscribe, then whatever text you write in here will appear here. So that's one option. You could be like, perfect, sent your workbook to you by email, go check your email. Would be an example of what you could write in here. Alternatively, you could redirect it to a page. So say if you want to like have it go to a new page that, I don't know, has more information or something, then you could redirect them to that page. The thing is though, I wouldn't just put the freebie straight on the page. Reason is double opt-in. Coming back to the incentive section, single opt-in means that someone comes to your website, they put name, email, subscribe, and then immediately that like PDF or whatever downloads onto their computer, which is good. The problem with that is that it's not seen as trustworthy and legitimate from the like email subscriber gods in the world. And so what they prefer is something called double opt-ins. That means they come in here, they put in their name, email, they click download or subscribe. And then they go to their inbox and then again, they click like, yes, I definitely want to be on this email list and I want that freebie. And so that is, they've done 2 things. So double opt-in, they've done 2 things. One, they've clicked download or subscribe here. Then they've gone to their inbox and they've again clicked another thing. And so double opt-in just means that you have a cleaner email list. People are really excited to be on it, and therefore it improves your deliverability of your emails as well. So double opt-in is a good thing. So that is why I would say you probably don't just want to redirect them to a page and then have that page just have the freebie on it, but instead I would do the incentive email. You could on this page just say like, hey, go to your inbox and go get your freebie there. That would totally work. So we have send our incentive email. So let's go to email contents. And so now you'll notice here it says confirm your subscription. So if you want it to be like, okay, they have to click again in order to confirm, great. What I actually do, it's kind of like 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll say like download your freebie, for example. So now. So in this bit here, I would write a bit of a message. I'd be like, hi, Josie, here is that thing you wanted. Hope you enjoy, whatever you want to say. The other thing is I would also tweak the subject line. Confirm your subscription isn't that enticing of a subject line. So think of something a bit sexier and maybe relate it to the freebie that you're giving away. So basically what happens is here, is the way it is set up is that when they click on that, then it would open up your freebie. So to show you, so when they click, they're confirming, and then it says after confirming, redirect to either one of two things, either a URL or a download. So I like to do the download option. So I would just choose a file and then you pick whatever the PDF is that you have created, for example, and then that would send to them. Alternatively, if you're doing something for your freebie, which is a bit different than like a PDF, for example, then the URL might make more sense. So say if you're doing like a 1 hour video training or whatever, I mean, them downloading a 1 hour video training would be like a lot to download onto their computer and doesn't make a lot of sense. So in that case, you would just pop in, say you create a page on your website, which is like, my website could be like pagebutton.com/training, for example. And then on that page, I put the video of the training. So which option happens here or which option you want to choose depends on what kind of freebie you're really giving away, I would say. So again, URL, good for like if you want to do video trainings or something, download, good for if you want to do PDFs, for example. You would edit the contents of the email and then again, change this button to say something relevant to whatever the thing is they're getting. And then when they click that button, it would do whatever you've chosen here. So yeah, that is how you send the incentive email. Oh, and just so you know, this sends immediately, like right away once they've opted in, then this email sends. The email has the details, and so it goes immediately right away. Once you have set this up and click save, then it will do that. But definitely, obviously, test it first. Okay, so now you've set up your fancy form. The next thing you might want to know how to do is to actually send your people an email. So under send, we have a few options. We have broadcast, sequences, email templates, and snippets. I'm going to talk to you in this video about broadcasts and sequences because those are the two most frequent that you will use. So under broadcast, this is when you want to send a one-time email. So I want to send my whole list of email subscribers, currently of 0 people, an email to all of them at the same time. So let's go to new broadcast. There's a few different options of like designed templates, or if you just want your like plain text email, I'm going to go for that for now. You basically are in here and you write out your content. So, hey, and now if you want to add in, for example, to address your subscribers by name, and assuming that your opt-in forms have had the option, like the name option in there, then you can do that. So we're going to go to the plus button, and then we're going to go to personalization, and we're going to go to subscriber's first name. And so again, if you set up your opt-in form the way which I showed you, where you have the first name option in there, that will automatically, again, you can test this, but automatically that will put in each and every different subscriber's first name when it sends to them, which is very convenient. So you would write whatever your message is. A very thrilling email. So that is my email content. If you want to add, you can add a variety of different things into this email. So if you click on the plus button, you can see all the different things you can add in: images, buttons, dividers, videos, different layouts, links, whole bunch of stuff. Next thing I want to discuss with you is your subject line. Subject lines are so important to get your emails opened. So you want to think of really sexy subject lines. The feature which I use with literally every email which I send is the A/B subject line tester. So let's say, for example, let's say that's my first subject line, or very clickbaity. Okay, so let's say those are my 2 subject lines. What will happen if you use this A/B subject line testing system is basically when you hit this email to send in a second, then it would send 15% of your email list, subject line A, and then the email that goes along with subject line A. The email is the same, it's just the subject line which changes. And then it would send another 15% of your email list, subject line B, and then again, that same email. And then after 4 hours, ConvertKit will test, okay, which subject line is getting open more and which one is leading to more clicks in the email. And then when it's determined, okay, subject line B wins, people are more excited by that subject line, then great. What it will do from there is it will send the remaining 70% of your email list the email with subject line B, the winning subject line. So it is extremely helpful for teaching, literally just like as an educational tool for yourself of like, how do I write really great emails and subject lines? This is the thing which has made me such a better email marketer, is just testing every single subject line which I send. That is testing subject lines, putting content into your actual email itself. And let's continue on to actually sending this thing. So here you will get a preview of exactly who this is going to. Now this is a new account, so it has a grand total of 0 email subscribers. But basically if you want this to just send to your entire list, then perfect, that would all be good. You can choose, do you want this to send now? Do you want this to send at a specific day and time? You can select the day and time that you want it to go out at. Let's say 8:10 a.m. Sounds good. Of course, I actually can't send this until I have a single subscriber, so you're gonna have to wait for one person to opt in. But right now, automatically the option, the default it has in there is to send it to all subscribers. So we're gonna talk more about tags and categories later and how you could adjust who the email is sending to based off of that. But to be honest, I don't bother with the preview text or anything. internal notes we sometimes use if we want to remind ourselves of something. It won't let me send this now because I don't have any subscribers on this account, but you would click continue and then send basically. And that is how that would work. Next up, let's discuss email sequences. So this is when you want to send a series of emails one after the next. So when you send a broadcast email, it sends to all your subscribers at the same time, but different people are joining your list constantly. So you can't really send an email sequence in that way. So that's when we use these sequences. And so it's created, it's kind of like custom timed for every single subscriber. It's like when Jessica opts in, then Jessica gets these emails over the next 6 days. Or when Joey opts in, then he gets 4 emails over the next 6 days. So we're going to go new sequence, and we're going to do sequence name, welcome, sequence. Great. From here, you will notice that the editor looks pretty similar to the broadcast. It's mostly the same thing. So it gives you some prompt information. You would use the email editor in here to paste in all of your content that you want. Subject line comes up here, and send this email after a certain amount of time. It's actually not so relevant for the first email, it's more relevant for the additional email. So we have, this is email number 1, which sends 1 day after they get opted into the sequence. Then we're going to add another email and we could decide, okay, when do we want this to send? Do we want it to send 5 hours after the last one? Do we want it to send 3 days after the last one? Do we want it to avoid the weekends at all? So you can tick these accordingly. And then the way that I'm going to set it up here is to have 4 emails go out over the course of, let's say we're going to make this 2 days. So I want to send 1 day after they opt in, then 2 days after they opt in, or 1 day after the previous one, and then 2 days after the previous one sent, and 2 days after the previous one sent. Good. So of course, edit the content of the emails when they are ready. Then you would toggle them all on to being published. That is good. I've toggled on the publish option. I'm going to go to the other ones. You can see they're drafts right now, so these wouldn't send. I need to put in a subject line, publish this. Same for the next one. And the final one. Perfect. So the way that this is set up right now is all 4 emails are ready to go. So let's go into the settings. And the most important thing which we need to do here is we need to decide who gets sent this welcome sequence. Now down here under the subscribers area, it says exclude these subscribers. So don't include any subscribers who have, for example, opted into this specific form. If you leave everything blank, again, this is excluding subscribers. So this is, if you select nothing, then it will just send to all of the new subscribers on your list. Okay, so next let's talk about getting your new subscribers into the sequence of emails. The first thing we need to do actually is go to the automations area. So we're going to go to the visual automations, and we're going to click on new automation, and we're going to say start from scratch. Now, when someone joins a form, then we want something to happen. So we're going to click on add event. Oops. Actually, let me edit which form. Okay, so any form right now. So if they join any and all forms, which in this case would make sense. Okay, if they join anything on my email list, I want to send them a welcome sequence, we would have any form. If you want it to be a specific form, like if they opt in for this specific thing, maybe you have different products or services in your business, so this opt-in relates to this service, and therefore it sends this specific email welcome sequence. So that's pretty complicated. For now, let's just go with one. But you could make it where it's like, okay, this form gets this sequence, for example. But anyways, right now we're just going to go for any form. So update event. And then we want to say, okay, what happens? If they opt into any form, then we want them to subscribe them to an email sequence. So then we would select our welcome email sequence, which we've created, and that is that. And then we would toggle live, turn it on, and publish our first automation. So what would happen here is we have under landing pages and forms, we've created our form, people are opting into our email list. Then under sequences, we've created a series of emails that would send out to people and publish those emails. And then we have in our automations, we've created a visual automation that says, if someone opts into any form that in my ConvertKit, then send them this email welcome sequence. That is pretty much how it works. So it's kind of like 3 different pieces to make this situation happen. Now back under sequences, we can edit, for example, maybe you want like, okay, any person who opts into my email list, I want them to get this except for this one form. I don't want people who go through that one form to get put into this. Then what you could do is inside of the settings of the sequence, you go to subscribers and you could exclude certain subscribers. So say if they go through this form, for example, I don't want them to receive it, then I could select that and update the sequence, and that means that everyone would get it except those people. Alternatively, again, you could do in the visual automations, only people who go through this form get this sequence. That would also be an option, and then you don't need to exclude anything here. So you kind of have two ways of going about it. The next thing I want to discuss with you is under the subscribers tab, and that is tags and segments. Now, what I like to do is when someone clicks on something in an email or opts into a certain form, I can tell, okay, that person is interested in this topic, for example. Say if I'm affiliating for someone else and someone clicks on something in one of my emails, which is over to that affiliate's product, then I can tell, okay, they're really interested in this thing, and maybe I'll send the first email about this affiliate promotion to my entire email list, but maybe I only want to send the second and third emails to people who are clearly interested and people who clearly clicked in the first place. So one way that I like to tag my subscribers is through interested in. So I am going to go here to create a tag, and I'm going to write interested, and then I'll say like legal templates and click save. So now in my emails, I could make it happen with something called a link trigger in ConvertKit that when they click on this link to this affiliate's product, tag them as interested in legal templates. Then over time, you'll notice it says 0 subscribers. It's going to be like 50 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers are interested in this topic. And then in future, when you go to schedule emails, instead of scheduling it to your whole email list, you could schedule it to just the people who are interested in legal templates. So again, how that would work is in broadcasts, edit broadcast, continue. And instead of all subscribers, I could delete that and say subscribe to this tag. And then I select the tag. Add filter. And then it would only send, instead of sending to my entire email list, it would only send to the people who are tagged as interested in the legal templates, which this is the most unbelievably handy feature ever. So that is tags, and that is an example of tags. The other way that I use tags personally in my business, when I started using ConvertKit, they didn't have this like products feature. And so it's like every time someone joins one of my courses, I tag them as like, okay, student of this course this month and year, for example. And so then everyone who say joined during the most recent enrollment, I can send them an email to everyone who joined in October, whatever, and be like, hey, wanted to give you an update. Here's something new I just added to the course. Or hey, want to give you an update. We're having a live Q&A call next month or something. So that is one way which I use the tags. And I tag people every time they purchase, then they are tagged as student of this month and year in this specific course. Now, I do also like to use segments option inside of ConvertKit. And so an example of how I use that is like every time I have a launch and open enrollment for a new group of students, then they get a tag for that month and year. And so they're in the tag. Then, however, if I want to send all of my students ever, for example, I do a massive overhaul on my course, I don't just want to tell the most recent students about that update. I want to tell all of my students about that. So I would create a segment in here, and I would say like all students of X course. And I would have add filter, subscribe to, and again, I have all my different tags. They're not in here, but let's say, for example, I had all my different tags like, okay, student of X course this month and this year. I would add in all of those different tags. And basically then this segment holds all of my different students in the different tags. So again, that's why I kind of want them tagged by each time they enrolled, because sometimes, I don't know, the ones from 5 years ago don't want to know about the most recent Q&A call, but the ones who just joined, they do want to know about the most recent Q&A call. So that's an example of like when you might want to use tags and segments and use them differently. Alternatively, again, so ConvertKit does have the products option now. So instead of having a bunch of people with a certain tag in there, you can have it like, okay, if they've purchased this product, then you can do the same thing where you add a bunch of people who are like different, I don't know, different versions of that product. Maybe, for example, they all get put into the same segment, for example. Now, when it comes to the naming conventions, I know it's kind of the most boring topic, but it's actually super important that you get this right because your ConvertKit can get very, very messy if you don't do this correctly. So I like to do my naming conventions in a very similar way. So I have this like interested in thing, which I have found to be extremely helpful. Then I also do like name of course or short form of that course, and then like month and year that they sort of joined the course as well. So like SSB student, October 2025 or something. That would be an example of how I would do the naming convention. So instead of having like the naming convention start with, I don't know, October 2025, then it gets really messy. This is going to be sorted in alphabetical order here. And again, when you have like 50 or 100 or 150 tags. It's nice to have them in a certain order. The other thing which I use tags for is when people opt out of something specifically. So the way that I use that naming convention is opted out, and then I put like course name, month and year. So they don't get any more emails, for example. They say like, hey, not interested in this course this month or this launch or whatever. I write opted out, the tag name is opted out, and the month and year. And that is also another typical tag which I create and use, and the way that I've named it. Okay, so next up, let's say, for example, that you wanted to have a quiz be your opt-in. So I use something called Try Interact for my quiz, and so I'm going to show you how that's done. So I'm going to go create new quiz. I'm going to use one of the templates. You would create the quiz inside of Try Interact. I do have an affiliate link for that, by the way. I'll put it down below. If you use it, it is very much so appreciated. And then we're going to go straight into the lead generation area for now. So I'm going to toggle lead generation on. I'm going to ask for their first name and email address. Enable that. Save and continue. And then from here, I can go ahead and select my email marketing platform. So ConvertKit has a direct integration with Try Interact, which is super handy. So I'm going to click on ConvertKit. So let's say I had 4 different quiz results, and maybe I want to send each different quiz result a different series of emails. So I want to say like, hey, you're an air sign, you're a water sign, you're an earth sign. Maybe I want each and every one of them to get a different email. Alternatively, maybe I want them to all get the same email. So basically what I would do is I link up every result with something. So already it says, okay, here's the result that they're getting, then what should happen next? I'm going to say I want to opt them in to some sort of sequence of emails. And again, we've chatted about sequences of emails. So I would go ahead and connect up each option here. Click save and continue. Then automatically it knows, okay, email address in here means to send that over to the email address section of ConvertKit, and first name should lead over to the first name. So it's already done that for you. So you just click, yep, sounds good. And then you can test the integration. Okay, so that's all connected now, but how do we actually get someone to start on this quiz? So what we would do is we would go to the publish option, publish changes, good. And then again, I like to do the embed code. So I'm gonna go to JavaScript, copy this. And again, in my website, just like when I pasted in the code to the ConvertKit form into a code block on my website, you would do the same thing. You would copy this code onto a code block on your website, and then it would appear there. So it's very simple to do. And again, it is hooked up now to my ConvertKit as well, which is fantastic. Okay, so now you know how to set up ConvertKit. How do you actually convince people to get onto your list, and preferably fast? Watch this video next, where I will spill the beans on how I got 48,000 opt-ins to my email list over the past few years, and exactly the steps I took to get there and how you can do the same too.